everybody, it's Michelle, and we've been reading Turkeys We Have Loved and Eaten and Other Thankful Things in the Junie B book series. And we've been reading chapter 1 through 5, and chapter 5 is Talking It Over. I did what Mr. Scary said. I stayed right in my seat, and I thought very hard about what just happened here. First, I tapped on my chin, very thinking. Then I scratched my head and I strained and strained my brain. But actually, nothing came to me. Finally, I tapped on Herbert. Okay, I give up. What just happened here, I asked. Why is Mr. Scary so mad at us? Herb did a shrug. I'm not really sure, he said. We dived into a pile of money. Who wouldn't do that? May jumped up and pointed to herself. I wouldn't, that's who, she said. I did not dive in the pile of money, and I walked around the edges with dignity. And I picked up just whatever money squeezed out of it. Herb looked real curious at her. How much money squeezed out? May stood there a minute. None, she said. Exactly, said Herb. May sat back down. Herb looked at the board and sighed. I have a feeling that Mr. Scary really hates our Thanksgiving list. May threw her head back. Of course he hates the Thanksgiving list, she said. Just look how stupid it is. She hurried to the board and she read each item out loud. Number 1, cranberry jelly in a can. Number 2, exploding biscuits. Number 3, Nipsey Doodles. Really? Number 4, rainbow sprinkles. Number 5, toilet paper. And number 6, money. I scratched my head again. I just don't see the problem, I said, and I think we have a nice little assortment here. May stamped her foot. It is stupid, Junie B. Jones. Stupid, 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 and dumb, she said. Who in the world is thankful for toilet paper, huh? Sheldon raised his hand. I am, he said. My grandpa Ned Potts says that toilet paper was one of the greatest inventions in history, especially after they put that little cardboard rolly thing inside. I nodded. Oh yeah, I said, that cardboard rolly thing is a genius. If you put some string through it, it makes a lovely necklace for Mother's Day. Jose jumped up. Plus, if you have 2 of them, you can make binoculars, he said. I make binoculars and spy on my sister, and it works like a charm, he said. May did a huffy breath at us. Well, I don't care what you guys say. My mother, Mrs. Mary Marquis, says that our list from yesterday is ridiculous. She says children are never thankful for the right stuff. And so that's how she started a brand new thankful list for us. She reached in her pocket and pulled out the list. My mother says if we use this list, we will win the contest for sure. She unfolded it. Who wants to hear it? Who wants to hear the brand new list my mother started? Nobody raised their hand. May read it anyway. Our thankful list by Room 1. Number 1, Room 1 is thankful for our mothers who cover us in blankets of warm, fuzzy love, and our hearts overflow with joy bubbles. Number 2, Room 1 is thankful for the happy sound of our mother's laughter as it tinkles through the air and melts like musical snow crystals in our hearts. Number 3, Room 1 is thankful for May. The end. And here's a picture of May, and she is reading off her list that her mother made for the class. She is kind of cute. All right. Excuse me. May looked up and grinned. I added that last one myself, but I think it fits right in, she said. She folded her list up again, and she skipped back to her seat. At first, Room 1 didn't know any words to say. We just stared at each other with real curious eyes. Then, finally, Lenny spoke up. I think we should stick with the Nipsey Doodles, he said. All the children got relief in their faces. Yes, yes, me too, we said. May's face looked so angry at us. She stomped her foot again. I knew this would happen. I told Mother you people would not listen. She covered her head with her sweater. All of us ignored her. We looked at the board some more. Then all of a sudden, Shirley clapped her hands together. Hey, wait! I've got an idea. Let's put something on the list that every grown-up likes. That way, Mr. Scary will be happier with us, I think. And maybe we'll get some more votes from the grown-up judges. I thought for a second. Yeah, but what does every grown-up like, Shirley? I asked. I don't even have a clue. Shirley thought for a second, too. Then she sprang right up. I got it! It just came to me. It's nature, she said. Every grown-up loves nature. They love flowers and trees and mountains and oceans and other junk like that. She clapped her hands together. Plus, every grown-up I know loves cute little forest animals, she said. Let's put that one on the board. Let's put cute little forest animals up there. She ran to get that chalk, and Sheldon quick stood up. No, Shirley, wait, he called. My Aunt Bunny is a grown-up, but she doesn't love forest animals. Last summer, she had a run-in with a raccoon, and it jumped on her head, and it just sat there for a long time. He did a shiver. For a very long time, I mean. Herb nodded. My mother doesn't like forest animals either, he said. Last year we went to the state park and a squirrel spit on her when she tried to hand him a Frito. He looked disturbed. She said a bad word, and we even have it on video. Lenny raised his hand. My grandmother doesn't even like the forest, he said. Last year we took her camping and she got her foot stuck in a pork and bean can. He covered his face like he was so embarrassed. She said she was trying to make camp slippers. After that, all the other children started telling terrible nature stories too. Shirley hung her head down and went back to her seat. I leaned over and patted her real nice. Don't feel bad, Shirley, I said. Being thankful is just so much harder than we thought. See, said Jose. He held up his thanking bag. I brought in our TV remote, but now that seems a stupido, he said. He looked over at Roger. I wish I had forgotten mine like you did, Rog, he said. Roger squirmed in his chair. Well, I didn't really forget mine, Jose. I brought in a can of whipped cream, but I squirted it all in my mouth before school started. Jose smiled. Who wouldn't, he said. Just then we heard feet in the hall. Shh, shh, shh. Mr. Scary's coming. Mr. Scary's coming, we whispered to each other. Then room 1 got speedy quiet, and Mr. Scary and Lucille walked right in the door. And we didn't even get caught for talking. Mr. Scary took Lucille back to her chair. She fluffed her fluffy hair and she did a spin. I didn't even get in trouble, she said. All I had to do was put my money in the safe, and I had to promise not to throw dollars at poor people. Mr. Scary frowned his eyebrows at her. Lucille, I don't think that was our message, he said. We talked about not bragging, and we said that having money does not make you better than anyone else. Do you remember that? Lucille fluffed some more. Nope, she said. Then she skipped in a circle and she twirled herself down into her chair. Mr. Scary looked at the rest of us. Boys and girls, I'm sure you all know that diving for money was not a good decision, correct? He said. Correct, we shouted. We did not really believe that, but sometimes it's just better to shout correct. Okay, good, he said. Now then, if all of you promise to behave like ladies and gentlemen, we will get on with our show and tell. Oh, we promise, Mr. Scary, we shouted. Mr. Scary smiled. We relaxed our shoulders, and when a teacher smiles, everything feels better. All right, chapter 6 is something in common. Mr. Scary roamed his eyes all in a circle. Okay, let's get started again, he said. Who has brought something so special that you just can't wait one more second to show us? Oh, me, I shouted, me. No, me, shouted May even louder. Then she quick jumped up and she reached into her thankful bag. And so I quick jumped up too and I reached into my thankful bag. And then, boom. Both of us pulled out our thankful items at the very same time. And I could not believe my eyeballs, I tell you, on account of me and May brought the same thankful item from home. And here is the shockingest part of all. They were the exact same stuffed elephants. It still takes my breath away to think about this. Because me and May are nothing alike, I tell you. And so how can we be thankful for the same exact elephants? Both of us kept staring at this terrible, frightening situation. We could not even say any words. Mr. Scary leaned back in his chair and smiled. Well, this is very interesting, isn't it? He said. His smile got bigger. I actually love this, girls, he said. It just shows us that even when people are quite different from one another, they can still have things in common. He stood up. That's what happened with the Native American and Pilgrims, remember, he asked. Even though they were different from each other, they were thankful for many of the same things, and that allowed them to become friends. I quick raised my hand. Yeah, only May and I are not friends, Mr. Scary. Plus, I don't even get pilgrims, I said, 'cause their costumes look hottish and sweatyish. May stepped in front of me. Well, I love pilgrims, she said. I wish I was wearing hot, sweaty pilgrim clothes right now. I did a huffy breath at her. If I was an Indian, I would not eat squash with you, May, I said. Mr. Scary laughed. See, girls, see how different you are? But look, you're both thankful for the same little toy. I frowned my eyes at that comment. Philip Johnny Bob is not a little toy, Mr. Scary, I said, real annoyed. Philip Johnny Bob is the bestest stuffed animal friend I have ever had. May nodded. And my elephant is the best stuffed animal friend, too, I ever had, she said. His name is Police Sergeant Chuck, and I have known him since my mother brought him home from the store to me. And here is Junie B with her elephant, Philip Johnny Bob, that we have gotten to know from reading the Junie B books. And here is May and Sergeant Chuck. All right. She held him up for everyone to see. My mother made this little police uniform for him. See it, everyone? Do you see it? She said. He has a little police jacket and a little police hat, and he even has a shiny police badge right here. She looked at Philip Johnny Bob and made an ugly face. Police Sergeant Chuck does not have patches sewn on him like Junie Jones' old elephant, she said. Junie Jones' old elephant has been all torn. I made squinty eyes at her. Yeah, only here is a news flash, madam, I said. In Mother Nature, elephants do not wear police uniforms. In Mother Nature, Police Sergeant Chuck would look like a nitwit. Philip Johnny Bob laughed out loud. Ha! Good one, Junie B, he said. Plus, I love my patches. Me and Philip have the same actual talking voice. I hugged him real tight. And I know you do, Phil, I said. Plus, the only reason you have patches is because sometimes when you and I wrestle, I accidentally throw you too high in the air, and I have to turn on the ceiling fan. And when I do, you get thrown up onto the fan, and I can't get you off. And then you fly across the room, and you land on the pointy living room lamp. All right, y'all, I'm about to run out of time. So right now, I am in the middle of chapter 6, Something in Common. So shortly, I will read the second part of chapter 6 and then chapter 7 and 8. All right, bye, y'all.